Everyone keeps saying, be confident, and believe in yourself, but almost nobody tells you the uncomfortable truth. Confidence without value is just noise. If your self-worth depends on likes, comments, views, or people clapping for you, then you're not actually building anything, you're just performing. And the scary part is this: the moment validation disappears, most people collapse, because they never had anything solid underneath. Ask yourself something honestly: if no one was watching, no one was praising you, and no one cared about your effort, would you still do the work? Because the world doesn't reward emotions, intentions, or struggle. It rewards usefulness, competence, and results. That's not cruelty, that's reality. And once you understand this, life becomes way clearer and way simpler. In this video, we're going to break one of the most common and dangerous addictions of this generation: the addiction to approval. No fake motivation, no positive talk nonsense. Just logic, psychology, and real-world rules. If you're ready to stop seeking validation and start building value that speaks for itself, then stay with me. The validation trap. Why you're stuck without even knowing it. Let's be brutally honest. Most people aren't living life. They're auditioning for approval. Likes, views, compliments, claps, validation. Every move is filtered through one silent question: what will people think? And the moment you hand over that power, you lose control. Because when your self-worth depends on others, your direction also depends on others. That's not confidence, that's dependency with better packaging. From a psychological standpoint, validation seeking hijacks your reward system. Your brain starts chasing short-term dopamine instead of long-term growth. One compliment feels good, but it fades fast. Then you need another hit. And another. This loop is exactly why people keep posting, talking, flexing, explaining, but never actually improving. Attention becomes the goal, not excellence. Noise replaces progress. Here's the uncomfortable truth: validation doesn't build value, it exposes the lack of it. When you truly have skills, leverage, competence, or results, you don't beg to be seen, people notice automatically. Gravity doesn't ask for attention. Fire doesn't announce heat. Value speaks without words. The more you seek validation, the more you signal insecurity. Humans subconsciously respect outcomes, not opinions. So before we even talk about building value, you need to see the trap clearly. Validation feels productive but keeps you weak. It makes you reactive, emotional, and externally controlled. Real power begins the moment you stop asking for permission to matter. Detach from applause. Detach from noise. Because the second you stop chasing validation, you create space to build something real. Nobody owes you respect, and that's a power move. Here's a reality check most people avoid. Nobody owes you respect, attention, love, or validation. Not your audience, not society, not even your family. And no, this isn't pessimistic, this is freedom. The moment you accept this, you stop acting entitled and start acting effective. Expectations are silent confidence killers. Drop them. People who constantly complain like, no one supports me, or, people don't respect my grind, are exposing a weak mindset. Support is not a human right. Respect is not free. Both are outcomes, not promises. The world doesn't reward intention, struggle, or emotions. It rewards value, measurable, repeatable, useful value. From a rational angle, this makes perfect sense. Humans are pattern recognition machines. They respect consistency, competence, and results because those signal reliability. Crying for respect without proof is like demanding salary without skills. It's irrational. Once you internalize this, you stop wasting energy trying to convince people and start focusing on becoming undeniable. And here's the plot twist: when you stop demanding respect, you become more respectable. You move silently. You work without announcing. You improve without explaining. That calm, detached energy hits different. People feel it. They don't know why they respect you, they just do. Because value doesn't negotiate, it shows up. Attention is cheap, skill is rare. We're living in the attention economy, and honestly, attention has never been cheaper. Anyone can get views by being loud, controversial, emotional, or fake. But here's the scientific reality. attention has low signal-to-noise ratio. It doesn't correlate with intelligence, competence, or long-term success. Virality is random. Skill is not. If attention equaled value, clowns would run the world. But they don't. Builders do. Engineers do. Strategists do. People who can solve problems do. Skill compounds quietly while attention decays fast. One viral moment dies in 24 hours. One real skill feeds you for decades. That's not motivation. That's basic economics. From a neurocognitive angle, skill building rewires your brain. Deep work strengthens neural pathways, improves focus, and raises your baseline confidence. Validation, on the other hand, overstimulates dopamine and weakens patience. That's why people addicted to likes can't sit with a hard problem for 30 minutes. Their brain is trained to seek applause, not mastery. So if you're choosing between being noticed and being useful, always choose usefulness. You don't need the whole world's attention. You need leverage, one rare skill that makes you valuable in a specific context. Attention follows value, but value never follows attention. That's the rule. Ignore it, and you'll stay stuck performing instead of progressing. Silence is a competitive advantage. Most people talk too much and build too little. They announce goals, explain plans, justify delays, and narrate struggles, all of which produce zero output. Silence, on the other hand, creates mystery, focus, and momentum. When you move quietly, you eliminate external pressure and internal distraction at the same time. There's also a biological angle here. When you tell people your plans, your brain gets a premature dopamine hit, almost like the task is already done. This reduces motivation to actually execute. That's why loud ambition often dies early. Silence keeps the reward system aligned with real progress, not imaginary praise. Strategically, silence filters noise. When you stop explaining yourself, weak opinions disappear. You stop adjusting your path based on random feedback. You stop seeking agreement. That mental isolation is powerful. It lets you think independently, test ideas objectively, and improve without emotional interference. Real builders protect their cognitive bandwidth. And here's the final layer: silence amplifies results. When you suddenly show outcomes without prior hype, the impact multiplies. People listen when you speak less but deliver more. Your words gain weight because they're backed by evidence. In a world obsessed with broadcasting, quiet execution is a cheat code. Build value even when nobody is watching. This is where the real separation happens. Anyone can work hard when there's praise, deadlines, or an audience. But value is built in isolation, when there's no feedback, no claps, no reassurance that you're on the right path. That phase feels boring, invisible, and pointless to weak minds. To strong minds, it's sacred. From a systems perspective, progress doesn't require motivation, it requires consistency. And consistency is easiest when ego is removed. When nobody is watching, you stop performing and start practicing. You can fail privately, iterate faster, and improve without embarrassment. That's how skill actually compounds, through repetition, not recognition. Think rationally. The market doesn't care how long you struggled. It only cares about what you can do now. So every hour you invest in learning, testing, refining, even in total silence, increases your future leverage. Invisible effort today creates visible authority tomorrow. That's delayed gratification in its purest form. Most people quit here because they confuse invisibility with uselessness. That's a cognitive error. Seeds grow underground first. If you can train yourself to work without witnesses, you unlock a level of discipline that most humans never reach. And once you have that, external validation becomes irrelevant, because you already know your value. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't matter. Explanation is often disguised insecurity. When you feel the urge to justify your choices, your pace, or your silence, ask yourself one question: does this person actually control my outcomes? In most cases, the answer is no. Yet people waste insane mental energy clarifying their life to spectators with zero stake in the results. From a rational lens, explanations have a cost. They fragment focus, invite opinions, and create emotional hooks. The more you explain, the more you open doors for doubt. both from others and within yourself. High-value individuals communicate when necessary, not compulsively. They don't overshare because they don't need consensus. Psychologically, over-explaining is a byproduct of validation seeking. You want reassurance that you're not wrong, late, or failing. But here's the truth. Progress looks wrong before it looks right. If you need constant approval to move forward, you'll never take unconventional paths, and all real breakthroughs are unconventional by default. So draw a hard line. Keep your vision private. Let people misunderstand you. Let them assume you don't owe clarity to anyone who isn't investing time, money, or trust into your journey. Results will explain everything later, far more effectively than words ever could. Value is measured by the problems you can solve. Strip away emotions, opinions, and hype, and value becomes very simple. How useful are you under pressure? The world doesn't reward effort in isolation, it rewards solutions. If you can remove friction, save time, reduce cost, increase efficiency, or create clarity, you have value. If you can't, no amount of confidence or validation will compensate. From an economic standpoint, income, respect, and influence are just byproducts of problem-solving capacity. The bigger and rarer the problem you can solve, the higher your leverage. This is why specialists outperform generalists, and why competence beats charisma in the long run. Talk is cheap because it doesn't fix anything. There's also a mindset shift here. When you focus on problems instead of people's opinions, anxiety drops. You stop asking, "Do they like me?" and start asking, "What's broken here?" That switch turns you from a consumer of attention into a producer of value. And producers always win. So audit yourself honestly. What problems can you solve today, without external help? And what problems are worth learning to solve next? Build around that, because once you become useful, validation becomes irrelevant. You won't need approval, demand will find you. Stop chasing confidence, build competence. Confidence without competence is delusion. It's loud, fragile, and collapses under pressure. Real confidence is quiet because it's evidence-based. You don't feel confident first and then perform well. You perform well repeatedly, and confidence emerges as a side effect. Psychology calls this self-efficacy, not motivation. Most people try to hack confidence through affirmations, hype, or external validation. That's backwards. Your brain isn't stupid, it knows when you're lying to it. But when you put in reps, struggle through complexity, and still deliver results, your nervous system adapts. Stress tolerance increases. Decision-making improves. Fear loses its grip. Competence also makes you emotionally independent. You stop panicking about rejection because you know you're valuable somewhere. You stop needing applause because your skills already paid the bill, literally or metaphorically. That internal stability is rare, and that's why competent people look calm even in chaos. So stop asking, "How do I become confident?" Ask, "What skill am I systematically improving this month?" Track progress. Measure output. Let competence stack. Confidence will follow automatically. No motivation speech required. Detach from outcomes, commit to the process. Outcome obsession is another subtle form of validation seeking. You start tying your self-worth to results you can't fully control: views, money, recognition, speed of success. That's a guaranteed way to stay anxious. Process, on the other hand, is controllable. And control equals mental stability. From a scientific perspective, process focus reduces cognitive load. When your brain knows what to do today, not what must happen tomorrow, stress drops and execution improves. Athletes, surgeons, and high performers don't think about trophies mid-action. They think about form, technique, and next steps. That's why they win more often. Detaching from outcomes doesn't mean being lazy or indifferent. It means being rational. You judge yourself by adherence to systems, not by short-term feedback. Did you put in the reps? Did you learn? Did you improve marginally? If yes, you're winning, even if external results lag behind. Ironically, when you stop chasing outcomes, they arrive faster. Consistent process compounds silently, then suddenly. Most people quit in the gap between effort and reward. If you can stay process locked without emotional swings, you gain an edge that feels unfair. Become so valuable that validation becomes irrelevant. At the highest level, validation isn't rejected, it's simply unnecessary. When you've built real value, external opinions lose their power over your emotions. You don't chase approval because your life already gives you feedback through results. That's psychological independence, and it's rare. Value changes how you move. You speak less, choose carefully, and act deliberately. You don't react to disrespect because you understand incentives. People either align with your value or remove themselves automatically. No drama, no explanation, just natural selection at work. Here's the final rational truth. The world doesn't reward who you are, it rewards what you bring. Identity is irrelevant without output. Once you accept this, life becomes simpler. You stop performing and start producing. You stop begging and start building. And suddenly, people who once ignored you start paying attention, not because you asked, but because you earned it. So stop seeking validation. It's a weak currency with high volatility. Build value instead: skills, discipline, systems, problem-solving ability. That's a currency that never crashes. When you hold it, you don't need applause. Your work speaks for you. If this hit you, good, it was supposed to. Because the goal was never to motivate you, it was to wake you up. Validation is loud, temporary, and addictive. Value is quiet, durable, and powerful. One makes you dependent, the other makes you dangerous in the best way possible. You don't need more confidence, more support, or more approval. You need skills, discipline, and the patience to build when nobody is watching. Stop explaining yourself. Stop chasing attention. Let results do the talking. The world listens to outcomes, not excuses. So close this video and ask yourself one real question. What value are you building today? Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because when you become useful, validation becomes irrelevant. And when validation becomes irrelevant, you finally take control of your life.